I had the privilege of meeting Barry when I was in Melbourne. He's just a wonderful guy. And he told me that he was writing this piece while he was on a houseboat. And he was practicing his saxophone on the roof of the houseboat because there wasn't really anywhere else for him to practice. And they were going through these gorges, the boat through these little riverlets with mountains on either side. And as he was playing the saxophone, he was hearing himself play, but then the echo as it bounced back off the gorge on one side and then the gorge on the other side, and the echo as it went back and forth and faded away. And of course, he was on a boat, so you can imagine that he heard lots of wildlife as well, including seagulls. So one of the main things you're going to hear in this piece is seagull cries as interpreted by the saxophone. Something like this. So they sound a little bit like the seagull cries. I would encourage you to come up with your own story as you listen to this piece. But I've come up with my own little story to lead those of you through it who might want a little something more to go on. Because as I said at the beginning, this music is quite different from what you've probably heard before. So the beginning of the piece does start off with those seagulls you just heard. And after that, you're going to hear the wind whistling through the gorges. Something like this. The wind whistling through the gorges. You'll hear the seagulls flying in the wind, and all of that echoing around the gorge. Then there's a quiet moment where you can just hear the seagulls again, and maybe the saxophone player is taking a nap under the sun, and he's just listening to the gulls flying back and forth, and there's lots of them, and they're crying to each other, and you're hearing the gulls and the echoes off the gorges. And so forth. Then in the final section, all of these sounds start to come together, and all the gulls are flying around, and the saxophone is playing, and all of these sounds are bouncing off the gorges, and we end up with an exhilarating and cacophonous finish, which I'm going to leave as a surprise. So this is Gorge by Barry Cockcroft. This is actually the oldest piece on the program. This was written in 1994. So everything else on the program is newer than from 1994. Gorge by Barry Cockcroft. Hope you enjoy.
Thank you.